Barf.
Oh wait, do I keep desktop audio muted or put that on?
Put that on.
Okay, both of them are on.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Great job.
Oh God, off to a great start.
It's still a great night. Still a great night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Adventure March Q&A. We are legit on, right? Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Adventure March Q&A. We have some awesome questions from people that we're very excited to get rolling with and get started. First off, I want to throw down a couple of things. We are doing a giveaway in the chat tonight. So the rules are just type ! Enter. And you could win one of our Adventure March patches.
What
that
if
we're
I
gonna be
type
giving out.
exclamation mark enter?
Huh.
Okay. What?
Exclamation point versus exclamation mark. Never mind. It's just
Okay, great. If anyone has any pedantic English questions, Steph is on board to answer those. Not Mike, no. Not in our Discord, which we'll also post a link to, but here in the Twitch chat is where you put.
Oh.
Is how
I'm
you
not in the Twitch chat because I'm not watching the stream.
Great.
Will you just count that exclamation point enter?
Nope, because I don't pick someone from the list. It draws it on its own.
Don't put me in there.
That's what you say.
I can't do that. It's
Put me in, coach.
not how it works.
Ready to play.
So as I'm answering these questions, if you guys have any questions in the put them up in the chat. We'll add them to the end of the list as we start rolling along. And if it's a question that I don't feel like I can answer because we're going to get to it in the show, I'll give
You'll
you
just
a
yell
and
a
find
lot,
out.
I'm sure.
What?
You'll just yell a lot, I'm sure, and cause a big scene.
Probably. That's what I typically do. So that won't be different. I'll just yell about how I'm not going to answer it. But it's not a yes or a no or a bad question. It's just something I think we're going to get to, and I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, mostly it's going to be like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
There's no dumb questions, only spoilers.
Are they dumb spoilers?
Yes.
There probably are some dumb spoilers.
By the way.
All right, so I'm just going to be randomly adding ones in here as I see them in the chat. So first up, let's kick this off. We got a question from Graydon, who wanted to ask me. Did you boo him?
What?
First one. Boo.
That's ridiculous. Why would I do that?
Don't gaslight Mike.
Yeah, Anthony, quit trying to make it sound like I booed somebody when I didn't.
Yeah.
How difficult was your life as a DM when the party did the one thing that it should never do? You know, split the party.
Which time?
Right.
Yeah, this time.
To be fair, the previous times I split the party.
That's fair. That's fair.
Only once did you guys choose to split your party.
That's
But
true.
in reality, I love it when the party splits up. I think it gives us some really cool dynamics to play with. It changes who is doing what and with whom. And it let us split up and do some cool storytelling stuff that I really, really enjoyed during that homecoming arc that I don't think we would have gotten a chance to do otherwise. I was not expecting it. That was not where I thought that was going. Stuff came out of it, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun.
As a player, I think splitting the party was terrifying. Like between all the like traditional D&D thoughts of like never split the party and like your DM's gonna kill you if you split the party and like Anthony doing things to make us feel really sad a lot.
All the time. Every time.
I was very nervous when we split the party, and I had no idea how it was going to work. Also, like,
Yeah, and it was bad.
right. I mean, we had a great time. Uh, like so the second half of that is that like what I learned from the experience is that we should always split the party because everything goes off without a hitch, and it's a lot of fun and we get a lot of fun things to play with down the line.
I disagree.
I heard there's no problems that come from splitting a party.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We did like this cool little smash and grab.
Yeah, everything worked great.
Yeah, we had no probs. And that was a universally
cool story,
experienced
bro.
experience.
Right, yeah. That was the best thing about splitting the party is that everyone had fun.
That's
So,
the most important thing.
I did have
Right.
fun. I was a badass. But it was also terrible.
We'll move on to the next one. I have a question here from Sean, who asks the cast, all of you. So I'll go in order. I'll point to people, and by that I mean I'll say your name. If you had to play one of the other many pennies, who would you play, and who would you want to play you? So, Mike.
No, I was pointing at Josh because I want to play Gillick. I want to play Gillick so bad. I think Gillick is so fun and so cool, and I would love to do that. And I think I want Mikey to play Geppetto so bad. I just love the idea of like Mikey's huge choices being like just so much bigger all the time. Like because like, oh no, I've got this like fully structured out backstory, so I'm just gonna really fucking hammer home whatever garbage I want. Like
Josh, how about for you?
So, Mike, exact same. I want to trade with you. I want to play Geppetto. I think it would be fun because, in my mind, Geppetto really is. I mean, he's our. I don't know. In my mind, Geppetto's kind of the de facto leader. He's the guy that makes things happen. He's the guy that talks. He's the guy that gets in and out of trouble. And it's just he's a cool character, and I would definitely want to play. And I would love to see have Mike play Gillick. I really would. I think. I mean, because we've talked about it a little bit. And you brought up how at some point, what am I trying to say? Just for addiction as a character thing.
sure.
Which I find a lot of fun. And I think that Mike would be really great at that. Honestly, I like trade 100%.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Geppetto as the like de facto leader because when we started the show, I told Anthony, I'll play anything. I just don't want to be the party leader.
I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
You're a Cyclops, bud.
And Anthony was like, sorry, Doug. Like 15 episodes in, 20 episodes in, he's like, I think you're going to have to be that guy.
Yeah, but that's because you picked a group of friends, 2 out of 5 of whom had never played D&D before. So like half of the party was completely new.
Sure.
And I'm a dick. So
Yeah, your
Rob,
character, as soon as we met him, I was like, oh, Rob's not going to be the leader.
no, there's no way Asher could be. Nuh-uh. Wasn't the plan ever.
Rob, if you could play one of the other characters, which one would you play?
I'm torn, honestly, because I'd love to play Gillick, because Gillick is it makes me laugh, but he's also like he has the most unique like dilemma of all of us. Like I feel like every single character has like some sort of thing pulling them in two directions, and Gillick has the most that's like in his face all the time.
Hell yeah.
Like Asher, Genevera, Gebetto, and Kat's like come up, and it's like, oh, that's we can deal with that. And Gillick's like, oh, I'm possessed, kinda. It's just a thing.
Have to deal with it. It's fine.
Also, I think I'm torn between Gillick and Genevera because like I still think about like I liked listening to the episodes of when they were going to the ley line of necromancy, and like the whole story of like meeting the black dragon and the fucking imagery of that was so fucking cool. Like to be a player in that role would have been just awesome. And there's just like a lot of her stories fucking cool.
Who would you want to have play Asher?
Oh God.
Who's the biggest dick of all of us?
I'm right here.
Bow. Part of me wants Mikey to play because like it's the easiest swap. But I don't know. I'd love to see Steph play Asher and see what happens. Like see where
her kind of like passive aggression
versus my aggression.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Quick, Anthony, ask me who I want to play.
Actually, we gotta move on. No, Steph, who do you want to play?
I would want to play Asher.
Really?
Interesting.
Wow.
One, animals.
Right. Right. Druids are the best class.
I'm done.
They are the best class. Just straight up.
That's it. There was just
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's a really good argument. I agree.
Asher turns into a puppy dog. Gets pets.
Yeah, but how cute am I? Right. How cute am I? Tell me how cute I am.
Oh my God.
What? And who would you?
Asher rolls on his back. It's so cute.
Who would you have play Genevera?
I don't know. I feel like it would be really fun if Mike played Genevera just because there are so many facts that he knows. And I feel like for like a super know-it-all type character that she is, I think it would be really funny to just like get these like all of these just random facts thrown out all of the time. Like, well, did you know that whatever.
Actually.
Like, actually, yeah. Genevera would return into a super actually character, and it would be amazing. Because he knows so many things about so many things. So I would really like that.
Okay, so I've got another question here from Sean. This is also sort of a question that came from Captain Hygiene as well. What?
Before we move on, is there somebody on the show that you want to play?
I think we got Dallas.
You're roboting like crazy. That you
Did I
would
break
think,
him?
is there? Yeah, your internet's awesome. Are you asking if there's someone I
Right.
want to play or someone? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think if I were to play any of the characters on the show, I would play Gillick.
Oh, yeah.
I think the dichotomy is super cool. I love playing paladins anyway. And it's really sweet dynamic to have that warlock paladin balance going on. And I think it's super fun.
Cool.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So I got another one here from Sean, who, and like I said, there's Captain Hygiene was along the same lines, so I'm just combining them into one. They were asking me for a peek behind the screen, what are some occasions where the many pennies just completely surprised you? Occasions where they did something you weren't prepared for, like won a battle they weren't supposed to, lost one they shouldn't have, said things that took the story at a left turn from where you'd planned.
Clyde.
I mean, that's certainly so. Mike, what are you doing?
Mike, what's happening? He's not doing what was planned. What's going on there, bud?
Hold on.
Holding on.
happening?
I found an Ethernet connection, but it's in the floorboards. And so I had to sit down on the ground to be able to plug in. And hopefully I'll get better internet now.
Yay.
Rad. So Clyde was a big one. I think really there's a tell I have now apparently that they figured out when they say or do something that I wasn't expecting, and I make a face, and Mike gets really excited when I make the face that he clearly has said or done something that I now have to figure out. So I've just started taking more time to do so.
More time to make faces?
No, more time to decide. So I'll just put my head down like this. I'll be like, okay, hold on.
It's great. He looks really sad when he does it, and then
Yeah.
we feel really good.
Okay,
I
here's
feel
what's
like-
gonna happen.
Yeah, here's what's gonna happen means, oops, we threw him for a loop.
That's exactly what that means.
It's either we threw him for her loop or he's gonna like make us sad.
Sometimes it's both.
So what you're saying is when we throw Anthony for a loop, he's gonna make us sad.
He revenge killed several characters. No.
So in reality, I have, as the patrons know, as I was releasing them earlier in the year, I have pretty extensive notes for the first 7 or so arcs that we did. And then I have nothing. I wrote nothing down after that because I really just have a loose idea of the events that are happening in the world and the things that are true in the world. And it's really been about what the Many Pennies have done to find those things out and to interact with those things. So the set pieces are there, and I pretty much just throw the set pieces out there and then let the players decide what they're going to do. So in terms of like really throwing me for a loop, I would say some of what Steph chose to do with the Magic Man was really fun. Like when she tried to summon it in I was actually super nervous she was going to try to summon the Magic Man in the alternate reality, because that would have tipped my hand on that really soon. I had a plan. It just was going to be like really accelerated. And then when she summoned it in the necromancy realm, I was really excited because that was a great way to be like, nope, hard no, and you don't know why. Like, but there was a reason why, and we found out that he's an angel and all this other stuff. So there have been
Spoilers.
times. Oh god, I mean, I assume. So there have definitely been times where things have come up that have thrown me way off. Usually they're smaller in scale, where Mike will just be like, I want to do this dumb thing. And I'm like, oh shit. Yep. Okay.
But that's why Geppetto's great. That's literally that's exactly is required. No, keep doing what you're doing.
But I really, really enjoy it when something like that does come up. It's a lot of fun for me to be like, oh, and that's also one of the reasons why as I've said before, I hate running modules and I like running things that a world that I've written, because now I just have an idea of what is happening in the world. I know how the world works. I know the laws of the cosmology. So if someone wants to do something that I'm not anticipating, it's very easy for me to say, that does work or that doesn't work, and here's how or why. And as long as I have those in place, I can roll with whatever comes up. I still have a plan generally for what is occurring in the world and how things are going to maybe not resolve, but at least become come to a head. And so that will all play out as they do things and things shift around. But a lot of the arcs from this year were not in my roadmap. Were not part of the plan. I figured we'd just keep doing ley lines this year, and we've done one, I think.
Yeah.
Well, because other stuff had to get fixed.
I mean, that's fine. It's good.
Yeah, somebody had to die right at the fucking beginning of the year.
No, that's the one we did.
Oh, right. And then we had to deal with like everything that happened because of that.
Oh, that was last year. Okay, I was
You're
like,
right. You're right.
Who
You're right.
died in 2019? Oh,
No, he died right at the end of the year, and then
Oh,
Eva
sure.
Kane is the one we did this year.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
Volcano.
Yep. Yeah, no, there was a lot of other stuff going on. It's fine.
Pretty
It
sure
went
that
out,
was
it worked
lava.
out well. So
yeah, Layla.
do you guys have things that you felt like were big, exciting upheavals for you guys?
The one just happened that I can't talk about. You can't say anything.
I mean, that'll be out Monday.
Hey,
A lot
I
of
think
editing to do.
yeah, you do. I think the Lich invasion was like, oh no, that was the most. This shit, we're supposed to win all the time, and then it kind of. It was like the season finale of Game of Thrones, like first season, and be like, oh, that's not how that's not how the show works. It's not.
Shortly after that, Mike and Steph were talking to me and were like, "Hey, man, can we get some wins? Is that a possibility?"
So I guess my two biggest surprises were, I guess, wins. I guess they can be counted as wins. Clyde killing the Lady of Knives.
Oh yeah.
And especially because we were all together and like
Oh, that was dope.
we were there for it.
Bye, Mike. Hello, Mike.
I was really happy with the timing of that because I really wanted it to be like the end of what we
Yeah.
were doing, and it just landed perfectly. It was so good.
It was so
Because
awesome.
it was like, I think that when you solve problems for us, I guess, is kind of how that felt. And it just was like such a good, shocking moment. And then the other moment for me was the Magic Man. Like getting that leverage over the Magic Man and like him not being a bad guy. And I think that was really fun for me because like I just assume that everything you're doing is trying to fuck us over. So like but like for real.
Yeah, getting allies is cool.
And like and having someone that I was so like viscerally like afraid of, like me, Stephanie, like afraid of, having that character be a good guy, arguably, I guess, or like a, you know, not this evil villain. That was huge for me. That was a huge surprise, and I super loved it.
Also, Steph, what was crazy about the Clyde thing was that
he's so
Anthony kind
Wild.
of foreshadowed that, and I didn't expect it until immediately after.
Right.
Where, like in the alternate reality, he was the usurper, and then he was, oh, it happened again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think for me, the biggest like, oh fuck, was when we confronted Elatrix
Oh yeah.
and he just flew away. Like
For like a year.
Yeah.
Okay, god damn it. I guess that's it. I guess that isn't gonna do anything cool. Like, oh hey guys, Mike specifically, your character is gonna sacrifice a lot for this. He's gonna drag his entire party through this super dangerous, super bad idea. I'm gonna give you a carrot that makes it seem worth it, and then I'm just gonna take it away from you.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, our DM is a monster. He's not the kind of, like, he's not like a Dark Souls video game, right? Like he's not gonna kill us with punishing like fights. He's not gonna like murder our characters every chance he gets. He's so much worse.
Yeah.
He's so much more like Jigsaw from Saw movie.
Dark Souls is way more fair than Anthony.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like
You know what you're getting into.
right. You know, Anthony sets up this beautiful, robust world that like we win all the things, and then all of a sudden, just actually.
Sean had one specifically for Josh here. Are you ready, Josh?
Oh God! All right, here we go. Yes.
What are the circumstances where Gillick would decide to take the seeds and become a level 10 paladin?
What circumstances would Gil? Okay, am I understanding the question correctly?
Yeah.
Would he take that? That's a great question. Because I don't want to say what I've been thinking.
You can listen and find out. That's a fine response to that. To say, you know what, we'll get there. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I don't want to. Because I've been thinking about it a lot and how I want to handle that, and I'd rather it be a surprise. That's okay.
And is there any possibility that Gillick might choose to become another class entirely?
Gillick the druid. We're just two bears. That's me and Asher.
Another class entirely?
Come on, Gillick. Let's get some sneaks on.
Yeah, right?
Bard.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm gonna sing you a song.
He's like fucking Tom Waits.
Was that your Gillick impression?
Yeah.
I
It was amazing. I didn't say I wanted to play
I
Gillick.
changed my mind. I want Steph to play Gillick. That's what I want.
That wasn't a question for you, but that's fine.
Give me flask.
Oh, in this version, Steph makes Gillick take the seeds and become a barbarian.
That would be good. That's if I could pick any class. See, now I'm thinking about what I would actually do. Can I be honest? What I would pick if I could be anything but that? I would want to be a sorcerer.
Yeah, tight.
Yep.
Okay. So Sean sent one over to me, but I'm going to open it up to you guys as well. He said, once the campaign is over, will we get to see the gang gallivanting around doing high-level stuff in bonus episodes? Plane shifting, fighting ancient dragons, all the cool stuff that home campaigns never really seem to
Fighting
get.
ancient dragons, fighting the players who donate to the Patreon.
My thought is, first of all, I suspect we'll get to some of that stuff in the end of this anyway. My answer to that is that I'm not certain that that's really like what the trajectory of these characters is.
Yeah, he's thinking he's gonna kill us all. So
Right. Anthony doesn't expect.
No.
he doesn't
No.
expect us to survive long enough to gallivant.
Not all of you.
Quick, somebody write in a question of who Anthony's planning to kill off. Next.
No, that's gonna be. That's gonna be. Yeah.
No, I don't really even think. I think that a lot of these characters are on fairly specific trajectories that will be natural outcomes for the character, but those aren't even decisions I'm going to make. Those are going to be decisions for you guys to make. But I would be very surprised if the ending to this is, and we did it. Let's all have some more fun.
That is my only goal for an ending now.
Yep.
Yep. We're
Plus
gonna do everything possible.
We all jump and we freeze frame in the air.
Yeah.
Good luck.
As we tell Anthony, he's worse than Dark Souls.
I like Dark Souls, for the record, Anthony.
So
You're worse than a thing I like.
Sean also asked us, what is your proudest moment? Role-playing, combat, both, doesn't matter. Just what is your proudest moment?
Damn, dude.
And we'll start with Rob.
Fuck off.
You said that kind of British.
Fuck off. No, that was even
No,
worse.
it's British.
Any chances
We were
here?
more British before.
I need to think on this one. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I really
okay,
don't
that's
know.
fine. That's fine. So, does anyone have one? Proudest moment from role-playing or combat standpoint? I'll go with, I think, mine. I think my proudest moment so far was
Cleven's voice, obviously.
Pretty good.
I'm trying to decide between a couple. I think a lot of the big reveals are obviously very exciting for me, and any cosmology stuff is my favorite stuff ever. But I think my proudest moment is probably Merifa and Klug's funeral. Because for me, I got to just sit back. I was not a part of that at all. I got to listen to the characters have their very important and heartfelt moment in character with two NPCs that I knew were coming back in some capacity. And so
Sure.
it was, but I think it was like a really, really important moment for the characters. And I think it was a big moment for us. And I really, really enjoyed sitting back and watching that as a DM. From a combat standpoint, I don't have like a particular moment I'm proud of in combat. Killing Asher, that was fun.
Dick move. My proudest moment was dying.
So I think, and this might be weird, I think my favorite role playing, or like proudest, proud is a weird word, but like I think my favorite, or I don't know.
Sure, whatever. That's
was
fine.
the tavern night that was just the three of us.
Oh, not that one.
Was just not that one.
I was like, that would be weird stuff.
It was just me, Mike, and Anthony. And I think because we had such like natural conversation in character, like there was the whole Clyde bit, there was like just I don't know, I just feel like everything that night just felt super like I don't know, it just felt very like real in terms of role play, and I think it felt super natural, and it felt like I came out of that being like like awkward because like everything with Clyde was so awkward, like I don't know, and that's something that like happens to me all the time, is that I just have residual emotions, but whatever. No, I don't know, I think that was like I think that was like the height of role play.
Josh, how about you?
For combat, proudest moments are definitely those times when I just remember to use my shield appropriately to defend my teammates, and to reflect use abjuration appropriately. Anytime I get to use abjuration on something cool, that's definitely proud moments, like reflecting ice on people and stuff like that. That was fun.
Yeah. I always forget about abjuration's ability.
That was dope.
When you do it, I'm like, oh shit.
All right, here's how it's gonna work.
What's your role play moment, Josh? There's so many with your character. That's the best part. He's such a heavy dude.
That's, you know what? I like those times where I get to be heavy, and the one that's sticking out right now in my head is when I was talking to where Spooky Todd was asking Gillick how he was. He was like Spooky Todd was saying how's Gillick? He was like, you're the first person to ask, Todd. I was just like, I was like, I don't know why, but that was a fun moment for me.
That made, when we were recording that made Mike feel physically, like visibly physically bad that he asked how Gillick was.
Well, because it's one of those things where like Gebetto as like de facto leader sucks at this, right? Like he's not great at being a party leader, and so like realizing that like, oh shit, he's really not good at it, like made me feel bad as somebody who like feels like he's a decent people manager at work. Like
I as I said, I remember saying that, and It wasn't to say that I didn't think any of the many pennies as characters didn't care or anything like that. It was just kind of like
It was perfect.
it was it was I know like as a group like Gillick loves every single character and Gillick knows that they love him. It was just it was a raw moment that I was like oh, we can have fun with this. This is dark.
I have it now, Anthony.
I'm ready.
All right, buckle up. I caveat this with saying that, like, I feel like when I made Asher, he was kind of one note, and I recognize that. And then as we kind of continued, I was like, oh, this show isn't just like a thing I'm doing with my friends. And Asher like became more fleshed out, and like it didn't really hit me until the moment where like kind of two-ish, which is that Asher like stood up to Teledoc and being like, you're a fucking idiot, like why are you even talking to us, like you dumb shit. And then but the one that really sticks out was like when Gillick had just come back and like everyone was like super mad at him because he was still Gillick being Gillick. And then we had like a real heart-to-heart after the fact, and I was like, it just felt like great, and it felt like really cool to be in. And when I listened back, I was like, "Ah, yay!"
When that was happening, Steph and I were texting each other, "Holy shit, this is such an amazing moment!"
It was
Like we were sending each other text messages across the room from each other.
It just felt like that whole idea of being like immersed in a character. I'm very bad at it as a player anyways, but like that was like the one where it was just like me, and like I'm Asher and Gillick is Gillick and we're talking, and it was really cool.
I love that one.
And my proudest, I took me forever to think of it, and I can't believe it took me this long, but it was totally Wall of Goats. Wall of Goats was like, I summoned 4 goats and they charged the phalanx. What? I haven't brought that one out in a while.
No.
Well, because it's just, I was gonna do it in a certain thing, but it didn't make any sense. And
I think my favorite Asher moment was when he just made his own door.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't go through this one? Okay.
We'll go over here.
Mike, what are your proudest moments?
So my favorite Asher moment, real quick, is definitely when he blew up Earth 2.
Yes.
I just thought it was fucking insane. It was so Raphael, like leaving the Ninja Turtles. It was so Wolverine riding around on a motorcycle. Like it was so perfect.
Now I perfectly understand why I hated that moment.
Just so rebel without a cause, like burn it all down.
Right.
I don't care.
Drop a cigarette, everything explodes.
Right. Yeah. So I just loved it.
and also, like, in that moment, Asher truly thought he was doing the right thing, because he was like, yeah, Earth 2 people want me to do this thing and it's gonna like help them, right? Yeah, that's fine. Everything's exploding, whatever. And like, why is everyone mad?
Also, on that note, if you have not yet read the short story that Adam wrote for this year's short story collection, it's really, really good. And it is the same Jacques character that he's been writing, except it's the alternate reality one. And it's really awesome. I highly recommend it. So, yeah, it ties into that moment quite well. But
I
Mike
really should read it.
Yeah. So,
Fuck Earth 2.
Fuck Earth 2.
My favorite combat moment was from the Temple of Salius.
Wow.
Wow. No, that's too bad. Just never lived up to it, huh?
No, honestly, like it was the second arc that we had or whatever.
Yeah.
And we all worked so well together to solve that puzzle box when the big skeletons had like dropped out of the ceiling.
You
Oh,
stole that
yeah.
from her.
With all
Yeah.
those buttons.
Yeah. And like it flowed so well, and like yeah, it just felt really fun to like hand the puzzle off to Genevera and then jump into the fray with like the rest of the gang beating up skeletons.
I thought you were going to say that you got to fight a dragon in a dungeon and you'd never been able to.
I mean, that was icing on the cake, baby. But no, it was specifically the one member of the party can't fight, has to use the puzzle box move where we like passed it around to make sure that everybody got a chance to do their shit.
Yeah. And what about from a role playing moment?
I think it was teaching Genevera about the birds and the bees.
Oh God, that was super funny. On like profound levels.
It was just so ridiculous.
Can I go to my favorite fight moment?
Yes, please.
Can it not be from the Many Pennies?
Yeah.
Because my favorite fight moment was fighting the bird and the blubs.
Oh, on the patron episode that we did, the
Thanksgiving
November this year.
Oh,
Fought the giant rock.
Oops. Yeah, so basically like that, and that's something that like I think that Mike does really well as a player is like be creative in attacks. Whereas I'm like fireball.
And then you murder an entire village of evil beings. Like
They were all
Or-
evil. Yes, they
Or
were
neutral
all
beings.
super evil. No, they were all evil. Okay.
oh, sure, or innocent pub attendees.
Evil monsters.
Right. Monster pub, where we
Monster
went.
But yeah,
Monster
so like
Pub,
and
the
that's
forgotten
something
one.
that like
Can we do a side podcast called Monster Pub where we just do tavern nights as monsters, all of us, all the time?
Yes.
yes, I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in
Someone
for
else
Monster
edits
Pub.
it.
I got you.
It's $1 million idea.
I got
Put it on the book. Copyright us today. Now, nobody take Monster Pub.
We should probably Google that because I didn't Google enough for the last one. So maybe
I want Monster Pub to be a thing.
Yeah, me too. For real.
I'm still waiting for a fucking episode of Spider Hospital. So if we could just
Oh, I forgot I was gonna write that.
Oh my god, I forgot about Spider Hospital.
I was like, yeah, Anthony, I can write a whole play on it. Oops.
Cool. So I got a question here from Claudette Moon, and it says Asher has made a great journey. Can you imagine him making a similar journey as a different class, or is his class instrumental to his character?
Sub question.
No, answer the
just
first
start with
question
that.
first.
Start with that.
Question first.
Can you imagine him making? He's made a great journey. Can you imagine making a similar journey with a different class, or is the class instrumental to his character?
I mean, I feel like he would make a similar journey if he was like full barbarian, but it would be like slightly different for a lot of reasons. But I could see him being like a ranger and being like the same.
Sure.
It fits kind of into the. I can't see him being like a nature paladin or like a nature cleric or something.
I think Nature Paladin, maybe like a follower of the Feyways, or a Fey Warlock would be the other two that you could maybe make a case for.
Fey Warlock feels like a stretch though in a lot of ways.
Yeah, oh, definitely. But I think those are ones that could be a similar path for him.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Man.
How
Wait.
big do you think that dick is?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like this is not my answer. This was Josh's answer. Josh said depends on what he's wild shaped as, but like it doesn't fucking matter. Like who cares? Like
I care now. Now I'm invested.
yeah, he's got a big old honkin' dongaroo. Okay, next question.
Right. But only when you shapeshift into a kangaroo.
Yeah, what is it when he's a wallaby, Asher?
Walla ding dong. I don't know. Just move on. Opens up wiki. Thanks, Captain Hygiene. Yeah, I just don't think it matters, so don't lose sleep over it. That's a hard. You'll find out. That's spoiler.
Yeah, listen and find out.
I think you're supposed to wink after you say that.
And then Asher died with his pants off, revealing.
At the $69 a month patron level, you can decide how big Asher's ding dong is.
Nice. And if we have multiple people, we'll take an average.
A high average.
The only thing in 5th edition that's a high average.
Okay. I got a question here from Cigarchitect to me. Ooh, it's like Christmas when I open a present just to me. Oh God, Captain Hygiene is killing it.
Yeah. Dude, if you draw a sexy Asher.
I don't want that. Do not email me.
Oh my God, do.
Asher with a big dong. I don't want that.
Yes, he does.
We've already discussed the length of time it takes to draw erotic illustrations.
This is what you're missing by not being in the Discord, folks.
Oh my God.
Okay. Cigar Architect asks, who would you say has had the greatest influence on your GM style? And do you watch or listen to any popular RP shows that have had a major impact on you?
Wait, hold on, Anthony, before you answer that question. Alexa, what's the average penis size? Okay, continue. If anyone was listening with speakers, they'll tell them right now.
Great.
Okay,
So who would I say has had the greatest influence on my GM style? So I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for about 19 years. And I've been DMing for a majority of that. So a lot of what I've picked up has just been what's worked and what hasn't worked over time. I would say one of the biggest influences I have, so I play a LARP in the Northeast area here called Madrigal. And the game runner for that is a guy named Rob Ciccolini, who, if you look him up, he is the game director for Dungeons and Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online. And I've learned a lot from watching the way, basically his 50 years of experience or whatever in running games, and how sort of the community in that he has built in that area has done their running of games. And I've learned a ton from that. So I'd say as far as my personal style, that's where a lot of that comes from. In terms of shows that I watch or listen to, popular RP shows that I have had a major impact on me, I listened to all of the first arc of the Adventure Zone, the balance arc that they did, which is like a year and a half. If you haven't listened to it, you definitely should. It is a fantastically told story. It starts off very silly because they didn't really know what they wanted to do with it, and it changes over time. I think that I learned a lot from that show, both by when we were listening to it, I was like, man, this would be a blast. I was doing the wrestling podcast at the time with my brother, and I was like, we could do this. We could do this. So when Mike reached out to me and wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, yes, but we have to do it as a podcast. So it is directly due to the Adventure Zone that this exists at all. But also, I think there were some parts that they did really, really well that I wanted to recapture. And there were some parts I think they missed on a little bit that I wanted to do better. And which I feel that way about a lot of the media that I consume. That there are things that I think both are good and bad. I don't listen to a lot of other highly listened to shows, I guess. I try to get a lot of cross-section of sort of what's going on out there, but I don't listen really deep on a lot of things. I'm not caught up on a lot of shows, although I am caught up on the Roaring Trainers, and everyone else should be too, because that show is wild. It is a 5th edition actual play podcast that takes place in the Jazz Age with Pokemon, and it's really fucking good. It's so good. So those are the only ones I'm caught up on right now. And stopped listening to Adventure Zone. After the balance arc. The balance arc's really good though, and I recommend it. So Sean asked this of everyone, what is your favorite recurring bit? And then he asked me what
None
my
of
least
them.
favorite recurring bit is.
Just
so-
referencing Dune for a while was really
Yeah, Dune was a fun bit.
No, you know
Um,
what's not fun about that is that as soon as I freaking read it, you stopped doing Dune bits.
well because it wasn't funny anymore. Like
Also, that makes it so much funnier.
Yeah.
the Shahud. Start reading Dune 2 and we'll start making Dune 1 references because Dune 2 sucks.
No.
But you
Okay.
need it for Children of Dune.
I like Children of Dune.
Children of Dune's really good.
I
That's
like-
number 3, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was good.
That Emperor is weird, and then I can't get through the 5th one.
I
I didn't
can't
read
get-
Beyond 3.
I can't get through Emperor Doom. It's too lame.
Yeah.
So okay, what other recurring bits are your favorites?
This is a Dune discussion from now on. Anyone that wants to submit their Dune questions, feel free to shoot those on over to us. We will take them live on the air.
Also, low key, I love how Keth never refers to his gauntlets the same way.
Oh my god,
Like it's
100%.
it's such a like a subtle bit that I'm like,
His
like every
name
single time.
For like everything, his gauntlets of
It's always-
whatever, his boots of flying, like all of his.
His boots of flying. It's a. The only one he's nailed is the Helm of Hearing.
Yeah,
Every time he gets that one perfectly correct.
Yeah, that's the only one.
You heard that one.
no, I think Mikey's not knowing what's going on bit is fucking hilarious because like,
Especially
It's
now
funny
that you.
now. It's a
Right.
funny bit now because it was true for a long time.
Right.
And now it's not true, but now it's just funny.
right. See, the difference is that I always thought it was funny, even when it was true.
It was always funny.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do miss bullying Clyde too.
Yeah, I'm my favorite bit that I played was T from Clyde for sure.
That's mentioned here. Sean gave us a list. He said Gillick being spooky, white Americans, Redbridge being a half orc, Clyde being getting Gebetto tea, etc. If I had to pick, so the reality is that it is my job to sort of straight man a lot of the bits. So I actually enjoy most of them, but my bit is to be exasperated by the bits, except for Redbridge being a half orc.
It was like actual exasperation. True exasperation.
He's not. He doesn't love that bit because it's not a bit.
It's not
It's
true.
real fact.
Fact.
Oh God, I hate that bit.
Josh, what's your favorite bit?
My favorite. You know, you guys all said bits, and I keep thinking of just like something that's recurring, like my favorite
Sure.
recurring thing.
Sure.
And I'm obsessed with the Magic Man.
Yeah.
I think the Magic Man is the most interesting, bizarre, fun character. And every time he's brought up or mentioned at any point, I think just fun. I bring more Magic Man, but at the same time, don't do that because I like his level of interaction with the cast. I think it's a lot of fun.
I liked Steph's getting sweaty at the Magic Man.
Yeah. very
Like
sweaty.
once she was
That
comfortable with the
wasn't a
Magic
bit.
Man.
Oh, sure.
Once she was comfortable with the Magic Man, it lost a little bit of its like, gee, you know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I still love the Magic Man always.
And yeah, by the way, we don't do sneaky poops anymore. And they went away when we started using video. Much harder. Poop in a lamp.
Yeah, now that Steph and I live in the same place, it's like impossible to sneaky poop. Like she'll see me leave. There's no like I can never pull that again.
if you haven't seen the most recent SNL the office toilet sketch where it's just poop in this lamp secretly, no one will ever know, and then immediately someone walks in and it's like, oh, why does it smell like shit in here? Why do you have so many lamps? No reason. Look it up, it's incredible.
Okay, so Captain Hygiene sent me a whole bunch of questions, and then I'm going to alternate them back and forth because some of them are for me and some of them for the cast. So we're just going to go back and forth here. So for the cast, what's been your favorite moment or story arc in general?
Clyde.
just Clyde. Hard Clyde moment.
That's a hard Clyde.
Because
Hard Clyde would be her favorite.
But that's a serious answer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because it doesn't matter. Everything we do is so important. We are trying to save the universe, and like Jennifer's priority is scoring a date with Clyde. And I'm serious. And I just really
and not only that, but scoring a date with Clyde after the first date went like pretty bad.
I think it was, I don't know, it was someone on the last Tavern Night was like, wasn't your first date terrible? Like, but no, it's my favorite because I think it's so light and it's so like, it feels very refreshing when we have Clyde bits, because even though he still is the king and like there's a lot of like politics and world saving that revolves around him, that's not what the interactions are.
Ever.
So like I feel like all of Clyde is just a breath of fresh air because it doesn't matter, but it's the most important thing to Genevieve.
So Josh, what about you?
Favorite story arc
Or moment or whatever element.
The Lich. I love the Lich. I think great villain, great not super world-ending villain, just a really powerful villain that just exists and that you don't kind of want to fuck with.
Right.
Just kind of sits independently in its own separate kind of way, as opposed to all the other big stuff that we deal with. I think the Lich is just one of the coolest villains that we have.
It's cut off this whole section of a country. Like we just no one goes there.
Yeah, we don't go to Ravenholm.
Right. Yeah, I think that's cool. Bad guy wise, like my head is on bad guys too, because I think bad guys is like the most fun shit. And
rogues gallery.
Right, yeah, I think we've got a decent one. But I love these orc gods. Like I think they're so cool, and I can't wait to see what happens with them, because they're so like aside from everyone else, right? Like this is this whole pantheon that like we've never even heard of until recently. Like I love the idea that we are talking with the three main like spaces in the entire like multiverse, right? We're directly interacting with gods, we're directly interacting with the Fae, and we're directly interacting with the Shadow Lord. And like also there's this whole section of other gods that we didn't even know existed. I think that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Two. One is a Patreon episode. Favorite fucking moment was, oh god, Team Yeehaw. I tried everything to sabotage that game, and it like just was amazing. Like it was just so cool. But like in the main story arc, Team Yeehaw is so, I want them to come back. In the main story, it was when we got to inhabit Gorm, because it was cool.
Sure.
For one, we got to find out more about Gorm, but two, we also got to find out how everyone views Gorm, kind of, and like the things they were hesitating to do and not hesitating to do. As a player, it was kind of frustrating because there was like, I listening to every single one of them, there was a moment where we were all like, now what? But Gorm being Gorm was super duper cool, and also like we all were independently building it together, and listening to it all the way through was like, oh, that's a weird evolution. That's really cool.
Yeah. I thought it was a cool way to do a backstory for this villain that's been so distant,
Yeah.
right? Like we got a lost flashback, but a 5-parter, right?
No, in terms of backstory, it was so incredibly clever, just the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel the same way about Marifa's memories.
Yeah, totally.
Like, getting to see not just Lich backstory, but like
Shadow and Viltroth and
yeah, exactly.
learning about
Living
Viltroth.
it rather than learning it, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite moments for the most part are the ones where the characters are having really, really deep interactions together. I really love that because I get to watch instead of
Sneaky poop.
do. Yeah, sure.
Because I get to run away and take a dump while nobody else is paying attention to me.
I don't, but I could. But I think those elements are what's really fun for me, is to have set all this stuff up and have people interact with one another in an organic way within that structure. But in terms of my favorite story arc, I think my favorite story arc so far has been the Homecoming arc. I think there was some awesome opportunities for us to do very touching storylines that ran perpendicular to one another, or parallel to one another, and were sort of telling the same story but differently and in ways that echoed each other. And I really, really liked how we were able to lay all that out by accident in ways that looked masterful.
Weird flex.
Yeah, it was great.
Way to go, us by accident.
Right.
Yeah.
We were accidentally incredible.
Right. And so that's Captain Hygiene's question was, what's been my favorite moment as DM? And I'm not sure that I have one specific one, but that arc I think is a really powerful one that we've done recently that I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to. I mean, I always like what we're doing now anyway, because we're just chugging along and we're getting hitting all the marks, and I'm very excited about it.
That's not
Chugging
true.
along.
Your favorite DM moment was when Mikey proudly proclaimed that he knew where that ley line was because that was his
His
childhood.
play, his play.
I don't think that's true.
God, that was so funny.
Prove it.
So for the cast, is there anything you wish you could go back and do differently?
Yes.
Hard yes.
Sorry, I'm just jumping in on all these answers.
Oh, go for it. What do you wish you could go back and do differently?
Learn how to play D&D before this podcast started.
I loved watching you learn how to play.
That's my answer.
Okay.
I would have put points in charisma.
Sure. Yeah, you didn't want to be the leader though, so it makes sense.
Right. I thought for sure everyone who had high charisma would be like, "Oh, good point. You shouldn't be the leader."
If I had played D&D before, I would have known what that meant.
Josh, is there anything you would have done differently?
Just say no, dude. Fuck it.
Yeah.
No, I've been amazing.
No, it's not because of that. That's I love those kinds of questions but my answer is almost always no for that kind of, would you go back in time and fix anything? Because the instant you do that, you change what the character would have been. And it's not that I don't think there are mistakes that I made or Gillick made and that couldn't have done and things that couldn't have done better, but to answer the question, no, I wouldn't go back and change anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Killer.
What about you, Rob?
Joke answer. Go full druid. Real answer. I I guess like not miss the first session. That's my answer. Which was a thing that was just wildly out of my control. Anyways, though it was cool to come in secondhand, but then that's always a little bit like, what are we called?
Yeah.
The Many Pennies? Tight.
What? Yeah.
He didn't ask me this question, but there are lots of things I would do differently if we had another run at it. But that's because from my perspective, I am always looking at how things are working in the moment and then how things work after the fact. And I think there are some things that fell flat in the moment that actually wound up being fine when we let it go to the world. And that seems, I'm okay with that outcome. I don't care how much fun you guys are having.
Like what?
Yeah, like what do you like? What moment?
There have been bits that I feel like were slow or sort of grinding for individual players. That when we do them, when you listen to them, the moments are actually very strong and very important. I can't pull out an exact one for you, but a lot of it's combat based. And I think some of that's that I get to edit down the combat a little bit and take out long pauses and things. But there are definitely moments that I've felt like I've looked at the clock while we were recording and been like, woof, this is going to need some editing. But ultimately it hasn't been that way when I actually go back and listen to it, and that doing it in the moment is very different than doing it live and then doing it recorded. There are a couple other instances that I feel like maybe fell flat. I think that the planning for the heist arc's one of my favorite arcs.
Yeah.
But the planning episode is not great.
Yeah.
And I would definitely love to have found another way to do that. I don't know what that would have been per se, but I definitely think a different way would have been preferable. The nice thing is that we've also had an opportunity to try to do things a couple of different ways when they've come up again. And so, I'm not going to focus too much on stuff that's gone by because we just got to make another episode. So,
Yeah.
But there are definitely some things I think structurally that would have worked a little better in different ways.
I think
Alice brings up making the bosses stronger. There are maybe some times I've been a little lenient with the bosses in letting some things fly that I shouldn't have, but that's fine. Just slap some players down, maybe. That's okay.
I think if I could go back and do anything, I probably wouldn't have dropped the wizard bit where Gebetto pretended to be a wizard all the time. I missed that bit. I thought that was really fun.
You can bring it back.
And I think it would have paid off a lot better as he started to learn magic. Like, oh my god, I willed this into existence. Right? Would have been like a really fun way to play that. But
yeah.
He kind of took his own way from there. So
okay, so this is the big one. Here at Adventure Incorporated, we like to incentivize synergy to bring up our KPIs and maximize deliverable requests or deliverables regarding quests.
sure.
Would you say that your core what would you say are your core competencies within the group, and where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I just started working in corporate and I don't understand that.
Oh god. So I
Mike's
think the
on board.
things
He's on board already. He knows.
I think the things that Gebetto brings to the table are really a bit more intangible than maybe a normal KPI or OKR might be. I think looking at things in terms of total value or
I'm a people person. God damn it! What do you people not understand about
I
this?
don't speak in acronyms.
all I'm trying to say is that there's a value add that Gebetto has that is above and beyond the average reluctant leader trope. I think you'll see that in the improved performance of my peers, and the folks that I work with on a day-to-day basis who are definitely going to have some positive things to say about me.
Now, Gebetto, some of that's baked into the Adventure Incorporated structure in general. So I don't think we can attribute all of that to you.
No, of course not. I'm just trying to say that I have I have taken the Adventure Incorporated ethos and corporate culture milestones of inclusion and support, and really tried to.
Oh no, my connection's weak.
Captain Hygiene asked, "Will the many pebbles return?"
No, God, no. I hope not forever.
We've not really brought up. So the live shows are meant to sort of be their own one-shot universes off to the side, but who knows? You never know. Shit could come back. Who knows? We've never done it yet. But that is what we want in the future.
There's only so many genres.
Okay,
Anime, many pennies.
this one's for everyone. Genevieve and Clyde, do you think it could work?
No.
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 I say yes, and Mikey says yes. So
I actually believe that. I think he probably would say yes.
Yeah, oh, totally, he
100%
would.
That
He's on
dude's been
board.
engaged like 3 times. So,
Twice to the same person.
What a wild woof. All right. Just fucking put someone out on blast.
I did it.
Man, if
He's not
gonna
here.
Show up, that's
Yeah,
it.
if he was here to defend himself, I might not have done it.
Really?
Never mind. I
Seth's
guess I'm not
calendar,
missing any streams again
never
because I'm
miss a
tired.
stream.
Certainly not because you're tired. That's not a good excuse.
No, that was a great excuse.
So,
Okay.
A real answer to that for me is still no, but like for a reason, right? Like, I don't think either of them have a high enough EQ at where they're at right now to support a real relationship.
I don't know.
Emotional quotient. It's like emotional intelligence, but
Oh, bigger words.
No,
It's like an
Corporate
ice score for your emotions.
corporate speak. Basically, now people want CEOs with a high EQ as well as IQ. But yes, also Browley is right. Genevera is way too good for Clyde.
Yeah, totally.
Like, he's such a putz. Like,
Centralized relationship. So Tiger
Synergy.
Shady asked everyone, what character death affected you the most?
Oh, duh. Mayrifa. Next question.
So Mayrifa, even though it was was it undercut by the fact that Marifa was just Hallie then and not
No, God, no. I didn't really get that at all. Like, Mayrifa was still always Mayrifa to me. Like, I know Bellatrix was supposed to be like, oh, it was actually Mayrifa. I was like, no, that Hallie was always Mayrifa. And like, that was also the first like shit gets real moment. That like I remember us all being actually sad. And for like the first time. And that's like never happened in a game of D&D for me. Usually it's like we've won or like we lost, new game. Like,
is that different for you two, Mike and Steph? Was Mayrifa's death different for you two, where you had a connection to Mayrifa as Bellatrix before that?
yes, for me it was because I got to DM Marifa's memories. I knew who Marifa was. And so knowing that, like when the mask got pulled off and it was some girl, I was like, okay, that's fine.
And
That was
actually, if you listen back, Steph does like a big long speech for Klug, and then it's like, anyone want to say anything about Marifa? And she's like, no. And I love it. It's so perfect because she still has information at that time that Asher, Gillick, and Kath don't have. It's so good.
Like, yeah, I think for me, I think Gebetto's mom and dad dying at the same time and then having to choose one of the two, or like having a choice for one of the two to survive was the hard part, right? Like, because like I, as a person, just kind of always hope that I never have to deal with that, like losing someone that you've loved for a long time. And so like the like guilt, or like the associated guilt for that person that survived, was harder for me than like losing the father was. Knowing that Gebetto's mom is alone now, like that was the hard part of losing his father.
Josh?
All I keep thinking of is when Asher died. Like,
Oh.
Sure.
That's
If you go back and listen, it doesn't seem like y'all that sad.
We were drunk.
Because again, Anthony makes the consequences real. So when that happened, it was kind of like, how is this going to play out? I don't know. That was an interesting moment for me. I think for me and for Gillick as a character, that one probably hit him probably the most, because these are the people he spends the most time with.
It's interesting because I'm always curious about that one, because I had known for a while that the first character who died, that's where they would wind up.
Okay.
It happened. The first PC to die would wind up in the necromancy realm, unless you guys went and dealt with necromancy before that. And then with Asher, when he fought Donnell, I was like, I don't really care how this ends. Like, this is a good place to reveal the Donnell stuff, and I don't really care if he wins or not, because if he loses, we'll just go and do the necromancy ley line, and if he wins, then we'll put it off. Like, either way, this is a good outcome. And then you
go fuck yourself.
See, Anthony's not connected to the characters; he's connected to the story.
The fucking cosmology.
Right. And so for me, like, I think it's really interesting that, not knowing where that is going to lead, that was like a bigger deal for you than, like, the death of Asher's character didn't have a huge impact for me personally, because I knew where he was going. And I knew what that was going to open up down the line. Now the release valve is gone, and if one of you dies, it's going to be a real issue.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if it's Asher,
because then Keth also dies.
Mm-hmm.
But if Keth dies,
for me, it was Gillick, because I felt directly responsible for splitting the party and leaving him, dead in a temple somewhere. So that was the toughest for me personally.
Oh God, Viltroth.
Sad.
Viltroth was also very difficult.
Yeah.
It was like a whirlwind of like, I didn't
Right.
have time to react to him being gone.
Right.
That was tough.
I think from my standpoint, because it asks which one affected me the most. Again, I sort of have a wider view on everything, so I don't think that I'm like super emotionally affected by the NPCs dying. But I was real bummed when Slask died.
Yeah. Because that was just real fucking negligence.
Yeah.
Can we say it the right way? You were real bummed when
Keth
Mikey
murdered.
killed Slask.
Keth fucking murdered Slask.
Well, Slask didn't do himself any favors. He rolled very poorly leading up to that, and was taking on way more than he could really handle. And it felt very unceremonious. And then everyone was just like, well, sorry, Slask.
Yeah.
We
I
got
just
work
felt
to
bad.
do.
No, you're not wrong. It was just, I felt like I like Slask. He was a fun
I
character.
really like Slask. I want more Ghost Slask, please.
Well, we got Slask, and we sort of got Slask back, so it's fine for now.
And Hallie. My fucking shoulder angels.
Yeah, but like Earth One Hallie.
Yeah, Earth One Hallie was dope. Get over it. Don't at me. I feel like you're atting me. Don't. What did I say?
I'm
So
gonna add you.
Earth Two.
No, don't at me. Don't at me, Gillick.
I got one more here on the list, unless there's anyone who wants to throw anything into the chat.
Fuck you. What did I just say? Don't ban me either. That's the least favorite running bit on the streams.
Ooh, I love that bit.
That's a pretty good bit.
I love.
That's not even a show bit. That's a stream bit.
Yeah, that's fine. It's still really funny.
Wherever you messaged me, 8-Bit Wonder, I don't see it.
I don't.
Check Discord, man.
Check Facebook.
Did check both those.
Check the email.
Check your text messages.
Check your texts.
So, Anthony, here's my question for you. Was there
Check your
a
mind
character that died or was affected in a way that you didn't expect other than Slask? Because Slask was clearly like like fuck.
Twitch. I don't have Twitch. No, send me a different way. I don't have Twitch.
Different.
Um,
Like, did we fuck up a character in a way that you didn't expect? Other than Slask, clearly, because whoops. Guess he's dead.
I mean, it's hard to say because like Clyde didn't exist, right? So anything involving Clyde from that point forward it's just sent ripples through reality. A lot of the NPCs didn't exist. The only NPCs I ever had written on paper when we started to play this game were Gorm, Iron Shaper, and the 3 Master of Adventure Incorporated.
And Clevin.
So Clevin,
You had
sat
Clevin
on
in a
it for long
lockbox.
time. Yeah. I sat on it
Clement and a lockbox.
And a 3-year timer.
Clement and a lockbox, 3-year time. I don't know where that came from. It just had a real musical quality to it.
So I don't think that there's anyone that you guys have like. Everyone is sort of malleable, so I'm comfortable with the way that you guys have interacted with players and made changes to characters, and I think that Redbridge is in a very different place than when she started, and that's going to be super interesting to explore. I think Elatrix is in a really different place than when he started, and that's going to be really fun to explore. As he tries to figure out his new place in the world. And those are the ones I'm most excited about. All right, we got a couple of last second ones here. Let's see. 8-Bit Wonder said, when prepping for a session, how much advance information do you give the players about future encounters? None. Do you run it live and react fully as it's revealed? Or do you have some advanced advice for sessions like Guild? Nope, nothing. I give them nothing.
It's true. No matter how hard we fucking beg for it, too. Like,
Yep.
Oh my god.
But also, I think that's part of like why it's good that we're all improvisers, like
Yeah.
because we're able to have emotional reactions. Like
Part
in
of the fun for me is watching Steph's reaction to things, and I would just lose that if I told her ahead of time.
whatever.
Yeah, I think the fact that we've been playing this game for 3 years and all take the characters super seriously helps make those moments feel that like guided is the term 8-Bit Wonder used. Like being a combination of improvisers, actors, and friends really helps us feel comfortable. At least me, I don't know, like helps me feel really comfortable just embodying as much of Geppetto as I can. And like if he ever feels scripted, that's like the best compliment, because it's just how I think in the moment he would react to something. And so if that feels planned out, that fucking rules to me.
Yeah.
That's great. So thank you.
Okay, so I'll follow up with the other part of his question before I go to Captain Hygiene's. So he said, 8-Bit Wonder also said, as players, what was your favorite reward for being awesome? Then he mentions that gear and bounty is not really discussed on the show, save for the weapons, which are being a bit ignored right now, which I have a follow-up to. But I'm curious where you fall on this. Like, what's your favorite reward for being awesome?
Immovable rods, duh.
Abjuration. I love abjuration. I love that shield. It's so cool.
A thing I get to use soon that I can't talk about was a lot of fun because it didn't do anything, but in a really fun way.
Man, Rob was real excited about this one fucking episode that hasn't come out.
Right, it's so well. It's weirdly Asher focused for some reason.
It's about me. What's not to love, baby?
Yeah, baby. Though I did love the way back the Tezcat Lapoca leaf. That was cool.
Yeah, that was.
Be like, what do we ask? Like, what do we do? Like,
that's one of my favorite. That's one of the things I've pulled from some of the LARPs that I've played, where you do this big long thing, and then the prize is ask anything, and you have to sort of decide like, how vague do I want to be? Because if I ask too vague, I'm going to get a vague answer, and that's not very helpful. How direct can I be? Like, what is going to happen with I don't want to waste this, right? It's a very powerful reward. It's one of my favorites.
Knowledge, you do.
I know.
I
know.
I think my favorite, I don't think it's for being awesome, but I think my favorite reward has been power over the Magic Man. Like getting, it's not a physical reward, but
the interactions that you had with the Magic Man and the state that you got him to was absolutely because of the actions Genevera took. There were the leverage you got over the Magic Man could definitely not have been a thing. I don't think that's like, I think that it was because of the interactions you had there. I think that is a reward for being awesome. I think
I'll take it. I just think that was a good reward for Genevera.
So treasure bores the fuck out of me. It's the real answer is that I hate management of the gear. I hate the gold, like managing gold and small bits. Like, we don't deal with spell components. We don't deal with ammunition because it's just annoying and I don't like it. And so that's why it's not a big focus on the show, because I can't, anything that we do with it, I'm like, you keep track of it. I don't want to deal with it. And so that's why Mikey Kev never knows how much fucking gold he has, because he's not keeping track of it and I'm not keeping track of it. The weapons initially were I really enjoy what we've done with the weapons. My goal with the weapons initially, as I think I've mentioned before, like some game materials maybe, was I wanted the weapons to have some personality and some character to them that could grow alongside the characters. I think that Adventure Zone is a good touchstone for this, because Travis McElroy's character has an axe that he doesn't use all the time. He just pulls it out. It can cut down trees really easy or something like that. It's like a super dumb ability. But it's like a character in the show when he uses it. Like, he pulls it out at every live show because the crowd goes nuts, because it is a character that people resonate with. And I wanted the weapons to be important to the players, that they weren't just a thing they were tossing away, right? Gebetto's armor is really cool, and when it's upgraded, it's got really cool abilities, but there's nothing that, like, if Gebetto found a cooler piece of armor, he would just throw away the piece of armor he's wearing and wear the cooler piece of armor. The weapons are integral to the story. they're integral to the characters now. And even if they, Keth's got an elemental sword, he never uses the elemental sword.
Oh, that's right.
Unless something comes up that he needs to use the elemental sword for, or that would be valuable to use the elemental
he
sword.
does have that.
But like the Redeemers are part of the character of Keth. And so I think they have achieved what I wanted them to achieve somewhat. The achievement style minigame of gaining power with the weapons over time is a lot of work and a lot of maintenance. And it was fun at first, and it was good that it provided an opportunity to sort of, for me to guide some of the players on how they wanted to play the Dragons and how to play Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. But I don't think it's necessary anymore. I didn't build another tier for them because I think we're at the phase now. We've got 2 years left. We got to start wrapping some stuff up. And I think people finishing their personal arcs will bring the weapons to their final form. And I'm very excited about that. And that should be cool when we get there, if we get there. Yes, Mike.
I realized that immovable rods, like as gear, is definitely my favorite gear, but my favorite reward was when I tried to sacrifice myself to the Shadow Lord, and Caliesto was like, "Don't do that."
Yeah,
that was pretty dope.
Recognized the heart of the sacrifice and championed me because of that. I thought that was a really good reward for being willing to give up the character, right? So I thought that was amazing.
And there's more on that later. Captain Hygiene asked about pizza. Hey man, listen and find out. You don't know how deep pizza goes. That could be the core of this whole goddamn thing.
We have to go deeper.
If you jump on the Discord, it is.
Pizza,
do you want to speak to Mike? Do you want to speak to the comments Agaratech threw out?
Oh, I'm not in the chat.
Okay, he said, for Gebetto, is it just me or has he gotten darker, less comic relief than year one? Is it just due to the gravity of the current crisis?
Yeah, Anthony, what's the fucking deal? No,
what's the deal with Gebetto having to deal with a lot of crises?
Right, so Gebetto is a character. When I first built him, I told Anthony, fuck the tropes. I'm building someone who just loves to have fun. He's had a perfect life. He comes from a home that is totally together. His parents love him. His parents support him. He went out and he made a name for himself in his own thing, and then has decided to adventure as a lark, right? He doesn't need to be doing this. There's no, he's just going to have a good time. He met a bunch of people that he likes hanging out with, and so he's going to party with them for a while. And at the end of it, he's gonna collect a bunch of stuff and take it home to hang out with his family again, and that's gonna be Gebetto's character, perfect character arc. And Anthony basically was like,
Captain Hygiene said in the chat, "Fun, eh? I'll stop this."
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's exactly right.
We can't have fun. I'm allergic.
And so, a lot of that lightness for Gebetto was from not having problems. Once he started to have problems for really the first time, other than the Cardozas in Verena,
which he just bailed from.
Right, which he ran away from, legitimately just ran from. They burnt down the guild. I'm out of here. Let me find a strong guy to hang out with. Oh, hey, Keth, let's go. He fucking bailed his shit as soon as possible on it. So a lot of that kind of darker, less light stuff is watching a dude who for the first quarter of his life had zero problems try to understand what having a problem is. Yeah.
I got one last question here, kind of. It's from a smart guy, SMORT, who says, "Bring back Bloodbath."
It's not a question.
It's not a question.
Fuck you a lot.
Can you bring back Bloodbath?
I would bring back Bloodbath, but he works at night, and since he sent this question, I'm pretty sure he knows that. At least I'm pretty sure he sent the question. I would be very surprised otherwise.
That's
If you
amazing.
sent the question, let us know in Discord so that you can win your prize. There's no prize.
Can I
I'll give
also
one gold frag to whoever claims that question.
I'd like to follow up on the
Damn
Geppetto
it.
thing. What? The thing the thing with like Geppetto say or with Mike saying like Geppetto has to learn how to have a problem. It's almost like a lot of the characters have had to learn like the problems they create are from the things that they didn't know they were going to do. Like Asher didn't know that he had to think about other people. That's why he blew up another universe. And like I feel like that's just been cool to watch unfold.
Personal responsibility, the podcast.
It's weird. It's just so
I smell a spinoff.
Oh God! Now we're 4 deep.
personal responsibility incorporated. Gather round, gather round.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
like
we
cleaning
finally
and
get hit. That cease and desist.
That's
All
right.
right. You.
All right, we're gonna pick a winner here for our giveaway. It's
Did you enter me?
what?
Did you enter me in the chat?
No,
What?
it was Axiation. Congratulations,
Hey!
Axiation.
Hey.
Congratulations.
That's not me, but at least it's not Anthony's family.
Axiation, if you can, if you want to send me a message, however you can send me a message, I will try to find it. Get in touch with me. Discord, Twitter, Facebook, this as order of operations. But thank you everyone so much for coming out to join us. We love doing these. We hope you guys had fun. And we'll see you again next year with another one, I'm sure.
Bless you.
So this was the last Adventure March live stream we're doing. So you guys have been great. We're really, really appreciative of everything you've done. We've got our art contest is done tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
do
if you've got
art.
some last minute art to send us, we're done with that tomorrow.
Show
And
that
then,
big dong Asher.
This big. This
No.
big.
A
No!
melon.
We've got the short story contest comes up on Friday, I believe, as well as our last drawing, and that final drawing is going to be for an Ancient Dragon slot. So if you win that last drawing, you have an opportunity to come play Dungeons and Dragons with us. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yay.
The Ancient Dragons have been some awesome games. We've had a blast with them. So if you can swing it, come and win it. There's all kinds of stuff at our website, adventureincpod.com, about how you can get entries and win. So
Anthony, did you
Yeah.
just say if you can swing it, come and win it?
yeah, I did, baby.
What does that mean? Listen and find out.
Yeah, listen and find out, baby.
Baby, if you can swing it, you can win it. Dodge a wrench, dodge a ball.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We love you. Thank you for coming.
We love you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Fun.
Bye.